One of the number one things that stops people from launching a business is they are battling a sea of debt. And I'm not talking about the good debt, I'm talking about the bad debt. In this video right here, I'm going to talk about how I got myself out of $50,000 worth of debt within 6 short months and how I actually end up making $160,000 in the positive that same year. You guys, let's get you out of debt. What's up, you guys? What's up? All right, I'm super excited about this video because we're going to talk about getting yourself out of debt. That is one of the things I believe that most entrepreneurs suffer from. It's an undocumented disease called debtitis. All right, it's just too much debt, and it's bad debt. It's not the type of money that's going to actually bring you an income. So that's the type of debt we're going to talk about today. But let's think about it. What else is a bad debt? Well, a vehicle car note, it could be considered a bad debt. School loans, subscriptions to certain products or services, like credit card bills. These different things can be considered bad debts because it's not bringing you an income that is higher than what you actually owe on that debt. So I remember when my wife, when she found out that I created $50,000 worth of debt in a business that we were running, and it was really embarrassing, and I didn't know how to explain to her, and I kept telling her things were going to be okay. And honestly, she's very hands off with my business. So when push came to shove, and I found out that my math that I had in my head was misaligned with reality, I had to finally fess up and explain to my wife that we need to start pulling money from our savings to pay off our business debt because I dug ourselves in a hole so deep that I didn't see any way out. Now, of course, my wife, being a loving woman that she is, she stepped up to the plate and we made it happen, but she was not happy about it. Matter of fact, she was furious that I created such a debt without letting her know. I think that if I just would have been upfront and honest, then I think that she would have been more well prepared emotionally and mentally before I just kind of laid on this huge debt. Now, I've met people who've been in way worse positions than me. I've met people who've been in $200,000, $500,000. I think the biggest debt of a peer of mine was nearly $800,000 worth of bad debt. And I'm not talking about the good real estate debt when you buy these homes and the rental properties are bringing you money. I'm talking about debt that is just really accumulating interest and they had to pay it down because it wasn't bringing home the money they thought it was going to bring them. So trust and believe me when I say this, I totally get where you are probably at right now as you're watching this video. And I want to just explain to you the few steps that I did to help me get out of the debt that I was in. Step number one, I had to be honest. Like I said, I just had to tell my wife the truth, but not just with my wife. I had to be honest with myself that all these things I was doing and all these shiny objects that I was chasing, it was not creating the income that I needed to really just excuse my spending behavior. So once I was honest with myself, it took myself to step number two. My wife and I sat down, we created a spreadsheet, and we wrote down every single debt that we owed. All right, so every credit card, every loan, and trust and believe me when I say this, I was embarrassed. I hated to have to sit there and go through this process, but it was a monster that I created and I had to take care of business. And I refused to close my business down. So it had to get fixed. So as we wrote it down and we wrote the amounts due, I had to stop the bleeding. Meaning every subscription that I had that was not bringing in an immediate income, I had to cut it off. Every credit card that I was spending and racking up in expenses, I had to cut it off. If I was not making the money, I was not spending the money. I had to face the reality and I had to become more resourceful versus trying to find new resources to make things happen. And unfortunately, as much as it sucked, I had to cut off a lot of programs that my business relied heavily on, but I needed to get that break and I had to get very just clever and strategic with how I ran my business to make things happen. And I'll explain to you how I did a few of those things. Step number four, I paid off the smallest debt first. I needed a win. I needed to feel accomplished. Like, yes, I could justify and say, pay off the one with the biggest interest. Okay, but that would have took me almost like all year to take care of. But when I started paying off the smaller debts, like a couple $100 here, a couple $1,000 there, when I started getting those paid off, I started feeling confident again. I started feeling and believing in myself that I can get these debts paid off, and it started making the process so much easier to accomplish. So once I started paying off those smaller debts, I had to create assets. And this is something that I teach in my program. We call it the Dream Builders program.
We call it the Dream Builders program. We call it the Dream Builders program.
I teach people how to launch businesses online that bring income in. And you can do it yourself. And I'm going to explain exactly what you can do right now. Create an online business. Whatever you want to do. I don't care if you want to sell paper mache on Etsy, or if you want to go on Pinterest and sell some stuff, or Facebook Marketplace, find stuff in your garage that got to go. Start selling stuff now and start creating an income. Again, it's going to build you momentum. You can start a Turo business. Let's say, for example, you have a vehicle that you don't drive often. Maybe you work from home and you can sacrifice your vehicle to bring a little extra income in to pay off some bills. Do what you have to do. Start an Airbnb. I remember my wife and I, before we had my youngest son, we were renting our 2 bedrooms downstairs. It was really reserved for our guests, and one was my office. I moved all my computer stuff, all my office stuff out of there, and I started working upstairs where I sleep, and I just kept the 2 downstairs bedrooms. I kept it for an Airbnb guest. We made so much money on Airbnb. Not only was it paying our mortgage, but it was also paying us a little bit extra that was able to go to the bills that I owed on my credit cards and all the other debts that I created. So that really helped out. Create an info product. Now, what is an info product? Maybe you're skilled in something very, that you know very well. I know nutrition and fitness very well. I know business very well. So what I decided to do was I wanted to create a smoothie detox ebook. I just really looked up some of my favorite recipes, or I just looked up drinks that kind of like fell into what I would consider healthy and work as far as a detox and a body cleanse. I put it into a little PDF draft. I created it. It cost me all of like maybe $30 to get it printed off at Office Max. And I went wild on Facebook. Every time I posted, I'm holding up my little printed up like meal plan. I'm showing off and telling people how awesome my smoothie detox plan was. Well, I was hoping I would at least make an extra $300 to $500 a month, just like selling the e-plan. Well, my first 6 weeks, we generated $8,000. We had so many people sharing it. I shared in so many groups. And I'm sure I annoyed a lot of people, but my bank account said otherwise. $8,000 off a simple ebook that took me about 2 hours to create, maybe less than 2 hours. And I was expecting a couple $100. I made $8,000. So it was amazing. You can also create a coaching course. Something that you know really well. Maybe you know how to do woodworking really well. Well, if you record yourself actually creating a product with wood and talking about your favorite products and where to get it, and you make an entire course, maybe film like 2 to 3 hours worth of video, put it in a program to where you can actually sell it online, you can actually generate a couple hundred to a couple $1,000 extra every single month. I have peers, and well, myself included, we make anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 a month extra just from digital courses. Lastly, this is something that actually was a surprise to me, but affiliate marketing. Now, I'm no longer an affiliate marketer, but I've done it in the past, and it did bring home a couple extra $100 a month where I was literally just promoting other people's products. And it wasn't as I was promoting myself. I would literally just email my email list, and I'll just tell people how like, hey, I'm trying this thing, and this tonic is so awesome. My gut is less bloated. I feel great. Here's a link. Go check it out. People would go to that link, they would go buy, and every time someone bought, I was paid an extra $60 to $80. And what I did was all that extra money I was generating from those additional streams of income, I used it to pay off my debts. So one of the most important things I can share with you guys in this video today, when you're breaking down your debt, you just follow the steps. Step 1, be honest. Step 2, write everything down and how much that you owe. Step 3, stop the bleeding. Stop creating the monster and cut it off at its legs so it does not grow anymore. Number 4, pay off those smaller debts. And number 5, create assets. Create a business, create a strategy to where you're creating an income versus just pushing money out the door. Once you do all these things, you're going to find your debt to income will get smaller and smaller and smaller. And next thing you know, you're going to surpass that bad debt and you're going to create yourself a bucket of wealth. And like I said, coming out of a hole of being nearly $50,000 in debt and then generating in the positive over $160,000 that same year, it was life-changing, My wife was extremely happy. She loved me again. And I was happy because I didn't feel like a failure. And next thing you know, I was able to just launch more businesses online and thrive. And I created more time to spend with my family because I wasn't stressed out with debt. I wasn't working serious, crazy hours anymore. And I had the freedom to do more things with my wife and my children because I no longer have to work a 9 to 5. I work from home. I create my own schedule. So anyways, guys, I hope this video made a lot of sense for you. I hope it helped you out with your journey, creating yourself your own generational wealth for you, your family, and your loved ones. Until the next video, you guys, I'll see you later.